Good morning. I'm Janine Brown Miller, president of JBM HR Consulting Inc. and HRWebSource.com.
And I'm Lori Miller, Training and Development SME of Developing Professionals. And we are here today, HR Tuesday Tips with the Millers. And today we're going to be focusing on the performance reviews, the second part, common mistakes, common problems. So take it away, JVM.
Okay, so here we go. So I know a lot of people have a lot of excuses as to why they're not going to do them, and I'm going to highlight a few of them and then talk to you a little bit about why you need to get rid of those excuses. So first of all, business owners and supervisors are often very uncomfortable with the process. So it's that simple. They need training and they need direct consulting in order to help them guide them through the process. I know those individuals that I have as clients that have said that. We sit down, we go through it. I actually help them write them so that they really have a script. And so by the time they sit down, they feel very comfortable with the process. Inconsistent administration of the evaluations. It's very important that you set some kind of standards and guidelines as to how you're going to be evaluating your employees so that they all feel, again, that anyone evaluating them is objective and fair in the process. Lack of ability to effectively communicate the issues. Sometimes there's some sticky issues that they're like, I don't know how to say this or whatever. Again, I could guide you through that process, or either of us could do that for you. But on the other hand, you have to get comfortable with it. You've got to say what needs to be said. Not using updated job descriptions. This is a really big problem because remember, that's going to be your first go-to. That's going to be your key management tool. If you were listening to any of our other segments, specifically on job descriptions, I was clear on why we need them. And this is one of the critical reasons why. We need to make sure they're clear, up to date, because failure to communicate expectations make the evaluation process very sticky, if nothing else, very ineffective. Not keeping track of performance all year. You know, there's this thing called recency effect in our business, in our HR world. And a lot of times what happens is we only evaluate maybe once a year, and we use the latest thing to use as the evaluation. And we don't want to do that. So all year long, I always tell people, keep a file on your employees, throw notes in, good, bad, whatever, so that by the time you really sit down and formally address performance, you have some good notes and some specific examples for them. Failure to complete on time. This is a huge problem. There's nothing that makes an employee feel less valued than when you forget or you're late on doing their appraisal. And believe me, that has tremendous impact. Seeing it as busy work. It's not busy work. It's the main reason you exist as any supervisor, any business owner. You're there to really make sure anyone that works for you is doing what they need to be doing and doing it well. Lack of consistency about how they're evaluated. There's this terminology, halo horn effect. What that means very simply is that some people are very lenient with how they view people, so they're always, exceptional or whatever. And then there's those that have the horn effect, which are people that are very difficult evaluators, which I was always criticized for being when I was an executive. But anyway, somewhere we need to come in the middle. So we need to just, again, have the objective facts and details to get through the process effectively. They're not prepared for meetings. You can't just pop in a meeting and say, let's do your evaluation. You need to really be well prepared, and you want your employees to be thinking about it ahead of time as well. And then, of course, finally, personal bias or favoritism. Sometimes people will evaluate people highly because they're like them or they just like being around them. That is not what we're talking about. So again, stay to your job descriptions, stay to your policies, procedures, behavior expectations, and then evaluate accordingly. So what are your some thoughts on that? Training is a big element of this.
Absolutely. And just to give some clarity when we talk about performance reviews, we have this performance management process. And with that, we got to make sure that we're aligning employees with what we're expecting them to do on the job. As you mentioned, we have the job descriptions, right? We've got our employee handbook, policies and procedures, and then we have the performance reviews that we do. Annually, we should be sitting down and making sure that we're tracking what we're expecting the employees to do, the skills, the behaviors, and are they achieving their goals. But we also have to regularly have performance reviews with them. And the reason that I say that is we have to make sure our employees are continuing to grow and develop to their fullest capacity. And so we have a responsibility, one, to train our managers on how to deliver effective feedback. Great training that you can do. How do I make sure that they're reaching their goals, they're reaching their objectives? And if there's a behaviors that I want them to start, stop, or continue doing, how do I deliver that feedback effectively? And then also with the employees, if I'm not doing something, where can I grow? How do I get the support that I need?
Exactly.
That's where we find the disconnect, and when they do training and coaching in that area. So the performance reviews are critical. an annual performance appraisal process where we have the formal documentation, but regular dialogue with our employee that's less formal, but a little bit more informal.
Exactly.
So
Okay.
I think that's it for today. We talked about performance reviews last segment and today. And so hopefully with this information, you can kind of take your individuals and your organizations to the next level. So next time, we're actually going to be talking about the selection process. How do you hire the right employees? We're going to spend a lot of time and energy on that. So I'm Lori Miller, your Training Development SME.
And I'm Janine Brown Miller, your HR go-to person. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time.
Relax, we got this.